Welcome to the .NET Core in Microservices. My name is Piotr Gankiewicz and I've been a C# programmer for over 7 years now. I've been using .NET Core for over 1.5 years and I am very passionate about open source in general as well as teaching the software development. I've been a full stack and a developer for quite some time as well. In this course, we'll start with the system architecture. You'll see actually how you can create an architecture for the basic distributed system. Then we'll focus on the messaging. You will see how to create the messages that can be sent through the service bus, such as commands and events. Then we'll implement the activity service, which will be responsible for consuming the types of messages related to the activities and storing data in a database. Then we'll implement the identity service, along with using the JSON Web Tokens, which means that the identity service will be actually responsible for managing the user accounts so that user will be able to log in through the identity service and he will get the JSON Web Token in return that later on can be used with the API. In the 5th section of the course, we are going to take a look at what is JSON Web Token and JWT in short, how to implement JWT using HMAC, and how to authenticate the users using JSON Web Tokens and our API. So in section 6, we'll actually finalize our API, which will act as a gateway to the whole system, which means that, for example, you would like to create a new activity, you will send HTTP request to the API by passing the body of your new activity as well as your web token, and then the activity will pass this message further to the service bus. In the 7th section, we'll focus on testing the system, which means they'll write both the unit and the integration test for our API and services. And in the final section, you will see how you can Dockerize your application, which means that we'll take a look at Docker, Docker Compose, how you can actually run app through the Docker, and how you can store your own Docker images in the Docker Hub, and finally how you can deploy your application to the virtual machine running, for example, in the cloud. The goals of this course are the following. So after completing this course, you'll be able to build efficiently the distributed system using this microservices concept, and of course by following the best patterns and the .NET Core platform itself. You'll see how you can send the messages through the system and use the RabbitMQ service bus to achieve that. You'll also find out how to store the user identities and authenticate the request using the JSON Web Tokens, which is the industry standard. You'll also see how you can make use of the basic of CQRS, commands, events, handlers, and other design patterns that are pretty useful when designing the distributed system. You'll also see how to implement the unit integration test for the API and services, and finally, how to deploy your application to the virtual machine using the Docker, and actually how to run it through the Docker and Docker Compose tools. In order to start with this course, you need to have a good knowledge of the C# programming language, the very basic understanding of the .NET Core platform, as well as the basic understanding of the HTTP API and the distributed systems. And finally, you need to have the .NET Core platform installed. We'll be using the .NET Core 2.0 or higher. At this time, there is a .NET Core 2.1 in the preview version. That will be it, and let's get started.